Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about the topic multi-threading. So we are all well known that a thread is a lightweight process. So each and every lightweight task of a process is called as thread. The Java supports the multi-threaded programming, which means that we can execute more than one thread concurrently. So, a multi threaded program contains two or more parts that can run concurrently. Each part of a program is called as thread. So, each and every thread defines a separate path of execution. So, multi-threading is one of the specialized form of multitasking. The multitasking is of two types. One is process based multitasking and another one is thread based multitasking. So when we come towards the process based multitasking, if more than one program or more than one process execute concurrently, then it is called as process based multitasking. If more than one thread executes concurrently, then it is called as thread based multitasking. So in process based multitasking, as it is heavyweight, there is more overhead, but in case of thread based multitasking, as it is lightweight, it requires less overhead. So similarly, the inter-process communication is expensive, but in case of inter-thread communication is inexpensive. And also the context switching, that is switching among the process in order to execute more than one process. The context switching is costly in process based multitasking, but in case of thread based multitasking, the context switching is of less expensive. So life cycle of a thread, the thread may be in any one of the five states. So the thread may be in any one of the state. Among the five state, it may be in any one of the state. Those states are newborn state, runnable state, running state, blocked state, and dead state. So a thread is always in any one of these five states. So the first one is newborn state. The newborn state is whenever we create a thread object, the thread is born, and we can say it as newborn state. So whenever the thread is born, we can do any one of the following tasks. One is with the help of start method, we can bring the particular newborn thread into runnable state thread. Otherwise, we can call the stop off method in order to make the newborn thread into dead state thread. So the next one is runnable state. So whenever the thread is ready for execution and waiting for the availability of the resources, then the thread is set to be in runnable state. So if there are more threads, each and every thread will be in queue and waiting for execution. So if all the threads have equal priority, then the time slot will be allocated for each and every thread in terms of round robin fashion. If any thread has higher priority, then the particular thread will takes in its own execution. Whenever the particular thread relinquishes its control, then the particular thread can be enqueued onto the queue with the help of yield off method. During running state, if the thread voluntarily relinquishes its control, or after some time slot, the thread will bring from the running state to runnable state based upon the yield. So the process of assigning the time to each and every thread to hold the resources is called as time slicing. So the next one is running state, which means that the processor has given its own time to the thread in order to do the execution. Here the resources are available and the processor is also available, and the thread is in execution. Whenever the thread is in execution, then the particular state is called as running state. The thread will run until it voluntarily relinquishes its control, or it is preempted by some higher priority thread. So a running thread may relinquishes its own control in any one of the following situation. That is, whenever a running thread calls the suspend off method, then the particular thread is suspended, and the suspended thread can bring to runnable state through the resume of method, and in turn from runnable state it is brought to running state. Similarly, a thread, we can make the thread to sleep for some t time. If the particular thread is make slept for some time, then after some time t, the suspended thread will get into runnable state, and in turn from runnable state it will get into running state. Or else we can make the running thread to wait if the resources are unavailable. Then after the availability of resources, then with the help of notify, the particular thread will bring into runnable state, and in turn it will bring into running state. So the next state is blocked state. A thread is said to be blocked when it is prevented from entering into runnable state and subsequently into running state. Whenever the thread is prevented to get into runnable state and running state, then we can say the thread is in blocked state. A thread can get into blocked state either through suspend off, or through sleep, or through wait. And finally, a dead state. Whenever the thread executes its task, that is completes its task, then the particular thread will get into dead state, or we can make the thread to dead by killing it with the help of stop off. So these are all the various 5 states in which the thread will retain. So the next one, main thread. So whenever the Java program starts, one default thread begins its execution, then the particular thread is called as main thread. So the particular main thread can be controlled through the thread object and the method current thread of, which is of type public static, and the return type of the current thread of will thread. That is, the current thread of method will return a reference to the thread. So let us consider an example. So class current thread demo. This is the user defined class name and public static void main of string args. So within the main method we are going to create the object t for the thread class, equal to thread dot current thread of. The current thread of is the method which is called with the help of class name because it is a static method. We have already seen that the static method can be called without an object. So without an object, with the help of class name itself, the current thread of is called. The current thread will return the reference to the object t. So whenever we print the system.out.println of current thread plus t, the three things will be shown to the user. That is current thread colon, this is the message, and followed by thread of three things main comma 5 comma main will be the output, which means that here the main is the thread name and 5 is the thread priority and another main is the thread's group name. So we can change the name of the thread by set name of method, so that t dot set name of my thread. Now the thread's name is set as my thread. After the name change, so the my thread will be the thread name and 5 will be the thread priority and main will be the group name. And in the try block we are going to make the thread, so the thread we are going to make the thread to sleep for 1000 milliseconds for int n equal to 5, n greater than 0, n minus system.out.println of n. So the value 5 will print and the thread is going to sleep for 1000 milliseconds. After 1000 milliseconds the value 4 will print and again the thread will sleep for 1000 milliseconds and 3 will print and so on. If there is any exception caught during the execution of thread, then the particular exception will be the interrupted exception, so which will be caught with the help of catch block and system.out.println of main thread interrupted in case of any interruption occur in the thread's execution. So let us discuss some methods of the thread class. The first one is sleep off method. The sleep off method makes the thread to sleep for some millisecond. We can give the time in nanoseconds also. This is what two types of sleep syntax is given here. One is sleep of long millisecond and another one is a sleep of long millisecond comma in nanoseconds. So during sleep the exception may caught, that exception is interrupted exception. So we have already discussed in exception handling that the throws is the keyword in order to declare the exception. The throws is followed by the class name. Yes, here the throws is followed by the class name interrupted exception, and throws is given in the method signature. Yes, static void sleep of long millisecond, this is the method signature. In the method signature the throws will be given. So in order to set the name of the thread, we can use the method set name of, and also in order to obtain the name of the thread we can use the method get name of. And some other methods, the get name is used to get the thread's name, and get priority in order to find out the priority of the thread, whether it is a normal priority or high priority or minimum priority, then we can use get priority method. And is_alive of is used to determine whether the thread is still running and join off method will make the particular thread to wait for some other thread to terminate. After the termination of the previous thread, then the next thread will join on to the execution. A run method, this is the entry point for the thread to bring its own execution, and the sleep off method is used to suspend a thread for a period of some time in terms of millisecond. And start off method, by calling the start method, the thread will call the run method. We have to remember, when you call the start method, that is, if you call the start method, it will call a run method. So we will discuss it in the forthcoming examples also. So the thread can be created in two ways. One is by implementing a runnable interface, and another one is through extending the thread class. So by implementing the interface runnable onto our own class, that is user defined class, it is possible to create the child thread, and also by extending the thread class also we can create our child thread. So here there are two ways. The reason behind these two ways is, whenever you extend the thread class onto your own class, it is not possible to inherit other classes. So if you want to inherit some other class onto your user defined class, it is advisable to use runnable interface, because Java does not support the concept called as multiple inheritance. So if you want to inherit some other class onto your user defined class, it is not possible to extend the thread class, because if you extend the thread class and some other user defined class onto your class, it is not possible, because Java does not support multiple inheritance. If you inherit some other class onto your user defined class, it is advisable to use runnable interface. If you inherit only one class, that is, if you inherit only thread class, that is, if you no need to inherit some other class onto your user defined class, then you can use the extending the thread class in order to create a thread. So this is what the reason Java provides two ways to create the thread. So the instantiation of an object can be taken place with the help of thread constructor, and also with the help of start method. It is possible to call the run method, and we can bring the particular thread into running state. So let us have an example. So here class create thread demo is the user defined class name, and public static void main off. Here new thread off, that is the constructor is called explicitly. So now there may be another class, that is new thread class, that is class new thread. Here we are going to implement the runnable interface. By implementing the runnable interface, we are going to create a thread, and thread t is the object name. The new thread off is the constructor name. Inside the constructor, for the thread object t, we are going to create the reference. So new thread off this creating thread. The creating thread is the thread name, and this defines the currently executing thread. And system.out.println of thread of child plus t, so which defines the name of the thread and priority of the thread, and the group of the thread will be written here. And when you call t.start off, then the child thread's run method will be called. That is, here we are creating the new thread. So we have already discussed that whenever the Java program starts, one main thread will start its execution. That will be called as parent thread. There is no need to create the parent thread explicitly, because whenever your Java program starts its execution, always a default thread is executed. That default thread will be parent thread. If you create the thread explicitly, then those threads will be the child for the particular parent thread. So here t dot start means that the child thread's run method will be called. Inside the run method, from 10 to 6 we are going to print the values, and also we are going to make the child thread to sleep for 500 milliseconds. If there is any exception, then that will be called using catch block of interrupted exception. And finally, the exiting child will be the message after the child thread executes its own process. And here this try block is used to make the parent thread to sleep for 1000 milliseconds. And here again, from 10 to 6 the parent thread plus the value k will be printed, the value of k will print, and here the parent thread will be slept for 1000 milliseconds. And here also again the catch of interrupted exception, and finally exiting thread is the message. So whenever you are executing this program, as a first step, the new thread of will be called. So as new thread of will be called, the constructor will be called here. Here the child thread is created by the name creating thread, and system.out.println of thread of child t, so that creating thread is the name and 5 will be the priority and main will be the group name. This will print first. That is, the thread of child, thread of creating thread 5 comma main will print first. After that we call t dot start off. So the t dot start off will call the run method of child thread. So in the meantime, that is before executing the run of child thread, the child thread's run method, the parent thread will be called. The parent thread will be called, that is, the parent thread means that the main method's try block will be executed. System.out.println of parent thread plus k, the k value is 10, will print. After that the parent thread will sleep for 1000 milliseconds. So when the parent thread is sleeping for 1000 milliseconds, the child thread's run method will be called, and the child thread plus j, that is value 10, will print. And after that child thread will sleep for 500 milliseconds. So after sleeping of 500 milliseconds, the child thread's one more execution will take place, that is child thread of 9 will print, and again it will sleep for 500 milliseconds. So after 500 milliseconds, now the parent thread will awaken, because parent thread's 1000 millisecond will be completed and parent thread's value 9 will print. So the output will like this, that is parent thread's value 10 will print, that is parent thread's value 10 will print, and the parent thread will sleep for 1000 milliseconds. And in turn the child thread's value 10 will print and it will sleep for 500 milliseconds. After 500 milliseconds, it will check whether the parent thread is awakened. No, that the parent thread is sleeping, so that the child thread will start its execution and the value 9 will print. And again the child thread will sleep for 500 milliseconds. After that, when the child thread is awakened, In the meantime, the parent thread is also awakened because the 1000 millisecond will be over. So now the parent thread will start its execution and print the value 9, and then again the parent thread will sleep for 1000 millisecond, and now again child thread will execute it for 2 times, and the same process will be continued till the loop stops its execution. As we have given the condition as n greater than 6 and k greater than 6, whenever the value is reaching 6, the 6 greater than 6, the condition becomes false and the loop will stops its execution, and then exciting child will print and exciting parent will print. So have a look on this program for some time in order to have a clear cut idea. So the next example is extending the thread class. The same program, the only change we have to note here is, rather than giving implements runnable, we are giving here as extends thread. And also we can call without creating the thread object t also, that is by calling super off, then the main threads constructor will be called and we can give the thread name here. So as we have called without any object, that is we have not yet created any object here, it is possible to call without the object, that is it is possible to call the start method without an object also. So these are all the things we have to remember in this program, and the remaining things are same as the previous program. In the previous program we have given here as implements runnable, rather than giving implements runnable, here we are giving extends thread. And also in the previous program we have created the thread object, that is thread t is equal to new thread of this comma thread name. Rather than creating the thread object, here we are giving super of demo thread, so that the base class constructor will be called, that is the the thread class constructor will be called, and the name demo thread will set for the new child thread, and then system.out.println of this, the this refers the currently executing thread. Here the current thread is child thread, so that the current thread is child thread with the name demo thread will print, and the value 5, that is the priority, and the group name, that is main. And similarly we can call the start method without the object t, so that the start off will call the run method, and the remaining things are as same as in the previous program. The output will also be like the same, like the previous program. The only change here is that rather than the name creating thread, here the output will be, the thread name will be demo thread will print, that is the thread demo thread comma 5 comma main will print, and the remaining things, these things will be as same. Have a look on this. Okay, so by this let us wind up the today's session. So again, for more details and for more contents, you can refer Java T Point, Java Tutorial Point, w3schools.com. So thank you.